Gold from Golding, he hit the free throw as well. And to talk all things hoops, I'm talking local and national, we are about to be joined by Brian Goorjian. The Boomers coach joins us on the couch.
What an incredible highlight reel. Brian Goorjian, a very warm welcome to you and to the couch today. Boomers coach, the most successful NBL coach, and you're a pretty gun player back in the day as well. I mean, I was seeing Chris Golding with that three-pointer and I'm thinking, he ain't got nothing on you. We saw Melbourne United and they laid one down against the Hawks last night, but one of the big storylines, of course, heading into this season is the Sydney Kings doing what you did as a coach, a three-peat. You know, the pressure is on their shoulders. What do you think from what you've seen so far? Can they do it, and what does it take from your experience?
No, when we won our first one, my thought process, how do you do that second one, or how do you continue? And a lot of times I go to other people, go to the States, and I remember going and sitting down with a guy and looking at him and saying, you know, how do I defend this? How do I go about, you know, getting my team to defend this championship? And right away he looked at me and he goes, you don't defend anything. You wear that ring around your heart for the rest of your life. You're not putting that on the table when you go to the season next year. It's all about pursuit. So important, the mindset, and then a little tap as I'm leaving, change them before they change you.
Yeah. Stay
on top of that. So when you look at the Sydney Kings now, there's been constant change through their roster. And when I watched them play, I watched them play recently against Adelaide. Jalen Adams coming back to it, a new coach. There's an energy in the gym. There's that element of wanting pursuit. And then when we talked about change, the pieces that they've added always to that bench, and the one big one being Bolden now. An NBA player that they've brought back and they're rekindling his career. I just think all those ingredients are there and give him a great chance to do it 3 times.
Reflecting on when you did it back in the day, how much harder, though, did it get with the other team stepping up every time you guys got on the court there? Because they know you guys are the top dogs that they're trying to take down. It must have gotten harder every year.
Every year it got tougher. And I think the strength in winning, and again, I've always, the other sports try to find something, you know, and at that time I was, you know, Paul Roos with the Bloods doing that teamship. And then earlier in it, it was with the Kings, it was about conditioning. So always trying to convince your team that we're bringing something new to the table and a little bit of an edge. And then the attraction of Sydney as a place to live, it's absolute. I remember saying to my daughter, I don't want to leave Melbourne. And then I got here and I'm down at Bondi going, what have I been doing? Where have I been? If I was your age, I'd live here. Yeah. So it's got all that you could ask for.
Trust me, about 10 million tourists say exactly the same. And they do get to Bondi Beach stick with us,
and I sound like them all.
You don't, actually. We're off to a short break. We're going to talk the Boomers with you on the other side. There's so much more heading your way. Of course, the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix as well, live on 10 Sport Weekend.
You need, ooh, that's why. Because what you need, people what you need. Why do people want you put your hands up? Put your hands up.
The NBL season, it is off and running. And, well, let me entertain you. Look at this action overnight as well. It was United that laid down a marker against the Hawks, getting it done. They are looking strong. But so much talk around Sydney Kings and whether they can go back to back to back. I just want to say it one more time, to back, but that's not right. They do, of course, chase the three-peat, and it's Brian Goorjian that did achieve that when you were the coach of the Sydney Kings. So what's next on your agenda It's the Paris Games, right? The Olympics, and what a moment it was for the Boomers. Aussies love their sport, of course, we know that, and love the national team. There was so much good feeling around the Boomers, and then you went and did what no one had done before, and you won a bronze medal, a medal. You medalled finally at an Olympic Games. What did that feel like? What was that moment like for you?
You could give me more.
Give me more!
People always, are you going to let that one go? Will you put it? And the assistant coaches, I remember afterwards sitting in the locker room. This is for life, and it's even more. The whole battle for basketball in this country from the 70s that I've been involved in this, and this thing just outside of our reach. But I've also spent a lot of time in China, in Japan, in our region. I've been in buildings where there's 2,000 reps for China, all in the red suits with the videos like that saying medal, medal, medal. So when you go there, and you realize it wasn't just Australia, it was Jordan, Lebanon, Philippines, Korea, Chinese Taipei. All of those countries, and I'm very familiar with, and I go there a lot, were so excited for us. And so, it was just something you'll never forget. It's a one-off.
Yeah.
It's like the thing with the Kings. There's a second and third one. Which one? It's the first one, because you can never do it again.
Yeah.
And getting that medal and doing what we've done for people. My first call was Lindsay Gay's. And then, you saw the emotion from Andrew. But it's just what it meant to the pillars of the sport, what it's meant for our game in the country is something I'll never forget.
And of course, yeah, that's it. And you want to go better next time, right? So silver, gold eventually. I mean, the sky's the limit, especially with some of the talent that's around at the moment. I mean, who is capturing your attention with all these players, like even a Josh Giddey dominating there in the NBA? I mean, this is the toughest comp in the world. You must be super impressed by what you're seeing on the world stage from these Aussies.
Yeah, I mean, there's kudos that there's for what our country's doing, the center of excellence, the stadiums being built, the amount of kids playing, the interest, the growth in the game, what Larry Kesselman's done with the NBL, all the players playing college ball in America, all pluses. But the point that makes this even a harder step is now going to the World Cup and seeing, when you watch the NBA now, if you said, okay, it's this, but it's international. All those, if you could take the 5 best players in the NBA, and they could play the 5 best Americans, the international players, and win that. And those players are all playing in the Olympics or in the World Cup. So it's not just us. And the ones that I'm excited about, or the ones that are on the positive, it's the ones that play.
Yeah.
So Josh Giddey was probably our best player at the World Cup. He's in the NBA, and he's playing a lot of minutes, and he played the same role for us. The next one for us actually was Dante Exum, who's playing in Europe, but he's playing a lot. So the obstacle for me was that we had a lot of NBA guys that didn't play a lot of minutes, and getting them up to scratch and getting them comfortable on the floor again together after not playing a lot.
It's so interesting, right? You talk about those that have been embedded and done the tough dance that basketball has had to do in such a saturated sporting market here in Australia. You win the bronze and you medal. You have the World Cup and then you're out at 10th, and everyone's so bitterly disappointed because the expectation on what the Boomers can do under your leadership is all of a sudden so high. People are saying you're going to be in the final for sure. It's a lay-down misère. I know you had Jock Landale. He went down, and that was a big injury miss for you. So looking ahead to the Olympics, and you talk about there's 12 players that are on that plane to Paris. Do you have a couple of tough selection decisions ahead of you? I know you speak about the Mills and the Ingles with the Daniels and the Giddies, so the young and the old, and it happens a lot. It happens in so many sports, the changing of the guard and how it all comes together for you at the one time. And then also how many minutes these guys are playing.
Well, I mean, if you said there's 3 stages to it, and the first one that you said, I've been in it before where it's hard to find number 11 and 12. To cut a good player, all I concentrate, and I keep saying, is you just don't want to make the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Just don't make the wrong decision. The hard part now is the changing of roles, and some guys, when you're in the international thing, it works in 4-year cycles. So you don't want to spit guys out all at the same time. Bradkey, Gaze, Longley, Vlahov, Heel, all together. Not a good deal. So you got to move these things in 4-year cycles. You got to keep that balance. And then the hard part now, once we make that cut, is getting a bunch of new young guys that we're bringing into this comfortable with the other guys, and some of those other guys having their roles changed. That's the challenge.
I can't have you on the couch and not ask you about Ben Simmons. He was back playing those warm-up games in the NBA, looking amazing. Is he on the radar? Because he's put his hand up and says, I want to be there at the Olympics.
I want him there too. The whole country does. And it's been an unfortunate set of circumstances, I think, in my time in this.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing him when he was 14 years old and walking out of the stadium and goes, I just saw something really, really special.
Yeah.
I picked up the phone and made a few calls. We had 9 guys. One guy, he's only 14. Can you bring him in? It was Ben Simmons. And from there, watching his career, he's an extremely talented guy. And there's been injuries. There's been some difficulties with his, the Philly to the New Jersey, but it just seems like right now if you look at him, he hasn't played, but he hasn't played in the NBA either.
Yes.
And right now it looks like he's ready and he's going to have a good season. And I think if he's healthy and has a good season, it's going to be boom, boom for the Boomers.
We're hoping it's boom, boom. That's what we like to hear.
That's what we want to hear.
You're going over there in November, right? So will that give you an opportunity to sit down with Ben and say what's cracking and watch him play as well?
100%. And I have this period of time now, so the wash-up of that is, and there was a lot of change, and we weren't as comfortable as the Olympic team, but I think this team, big picture, has a higher ceiling. And right now, all those guys need a little bit of attention here and a little bit, because when we finish the game, the last game, 10 months is the Olympics. It's not 2 years. It's right around the corner. So I'll get a touch on each guy that's in the NBA and enjoy some really good basketball.
Oh, yes, you will, Brian Goorjian. It was an absolute pleasure having you on our couch. We are off to a short break. Do not go anywhere. We are inching closer to the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix, and as we head there, we have a lovely competition from our friends at Shannon's.